Hello, everyone. So we are now doing the daf number 4 of Project Likkutei Torah, Parshas Pekudei, the chapters 4, 5, and 6 of the mimer. So we explained the verse in the Tehillim that it alludes to the tribes of Israel as the tribes of the first two letters of the tetragrammaton Yud and Hey, and alludes that they are a testimony to the Jewish people, an Adus. So we explained, connected to this idea in the previous pasuk, that Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, is şehubra yachdiv. It's a city of unity. That Jerusalem has two elements. There's the physical, tangible, terrestrial Jerusalem. Down here, we have an extraterrestrial Jerusalem, a Jerusalem above, so to speak, a spiritual Jerusalem above, which represents the higher level of godliness corresponding to the first two letters of Hashem's name. And that higher level is corresponds to the negative mitzvahs, the mitzvahs that are of prohibitions, the mitzvahs leisase, and the lower Jerusalem, the Jerusalem that we know of here on earth, that corresponds to the positive mitzvahs and the last two letters of Hashem's name, which are Vav and Hey. And we spoke about that specifically, how the idea of Adus, but that the tribes of the Yod K of Hashem's name is a testimony. A testimony is when you have something that is concealed from the public or from the world, and when a court or a judge is trying to determine a legal ruling, you need testimony from witnesses to decide if something is correct or not. So the job of witnesses in a testimony is to reveal that which was previously concealed. So that represents this idea of taking this lofty godly level that's incomprehensible, that's beyond logic and comprehension and internalization, and make it in a way that it's on the level of understanding. Because the word for testimony, Hebrew, edus, Alv, Daled, Vav, Saf, actually, if you move the letters around, it actually spells the word das, deois, Daled, Ayin, Vav, Saf, which means knowledge. So we're able to draw down this knowledge of intellect, of godliness into our emotions. And that is all to praise Hashem, which is on the level lahodis. The idea of praising is idea that's beyond logic, because we're not able to internalize the idea of praise. We just recognize that it's so beyond us, so therefore all we can do is praise it. We can't actually draw it and internalize it. And that's specifically through our practice of pushing away evil and not letting ourselves be exposed to evil through any of our five senses, and then transforming whatever negativity we can transform into positivity. And then that's how we're able to draw down these lofty godly levels. And then the next chapter 5, we actually spoke about the first verse of the parsha of Pekudei, which has the word Mishkan twice. So we actually answered that question, that the reason why it says Mishkan twice is because the two times it says Mishkan correspond to these two levels of Jerusalem, terrestrial and extraterrestrial Jerusalem. And the meaning that the first Mishkan corresponds to that, I don't know if extraterrestrial is the right word, to sublime, this lofty, sublime Jerusalem, Shalom Maila, it's called, Jerusalem above, which, that's the second Mishkan. The second Mishkan refers to this lofty Jerusalem. The first Mishkan represents the lowly, earthly Jerusalem, which corresponds to these two levels of awe of God corresponding again to this the vav, the yud, and the hey, which is the second word mishkan, and the vav and the hey, which is the first mishkan. And we explained the first word of the verse is Ela. Ela Pekudei Mishkan. The word Ela in Hebrew has the numerical equivalent, the gematria of 36. 36 is a special number in Judaism because it's 6 times 6. The number 6 represents the 6 emotional attributes. And when each emotional attribute has within it 6 other emotional attributes. So when you include each of the 6 emotional attributes within the 6, you get 6 times 6, which is 36. And the emotional attributes is connected to the vav of God's name. That's the third of the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, which is a vav, which is the gematria, the numerical equivalent of the number 6. So it's very significant. And it represents unity also, because Pekudei, the word Pekudei actually in the Gemara also alludes to intimacy, to unity. So when we actually find that the Ve'ela Pekudei Mishkan, the first part of this verse, actually represents this idea of emotionally bringing down and drawing down godliness in a very tangible way that we can relate to on a very practical level. And then the second half of the verse, Mishkan Ha'edus, the sanctuary of testimony, that represents drawing down the lofty level that's even beyond rationale. And we also explained this idea of edus, of testimony, in a very fascinating way, that on one hand, testimony, edus, can mean something that's infinite, unlimited. But on the other hand, edus can mean something totally limited. For example, I don't need to go through all the examples, but ad kan tchum Shabbos, ad, it means limitation, but ad is infinite, or va'ed, l'olam va'ed means infinite. So which one is it? Is it finite or is it infinite? Well, really the answer is both, because edus, testimony, it is that bridge, that kesser, that crown that's beyond intellect, but it's also connected to intellect. So therefore it's able to bridge both infinite and finite at the same time, making it possible to draw down that infinite beyond logic, beyond understanding, beyond appreciation, to make it possible to at least relate to it, even if it's on a silly superficial level. And that's called kesser in Hebrew, level of kesser. And that is drawing down that high, lofty level of Yud-K, of Hashem's name, the first 2 letters, which are connected to the 2 crowns that the Jews received. Receive the Torah of we will do, and then we will understand, specifically through Moshe, because Moshe is the one that has the self-nullification to really be able to internalize and nullify himself, to make himself that, that connector, to really draw down that infinite level in a tangible way that it can be related to here on earth. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.